We've seen humanity fall to zombies countless times, but never quite like this. Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we'll be exploring the history and science behind the Cordyceps Brain Infection from The Last of Us.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
This fungal infection's effects are similar to those in other zombie media. Once infected, the host loses all higher brain functions and lashes out animalistically. But this isn't some biological weapon produced in a lab. Writer and co-director Neil Druckmann wanted the outbreak to seem realistic, and the inspiration the team used for their infection is pretty terrifying in its own right. Cordyceps brain infection is based off a real-life fungus, Cordyceps unilaterus, or Cordyceps for short. It's predominantly found in tropical forests and infects small insects. After the release of Uncharted 2, the staff at Naughty Dog were searching for inspiration for their next IP. A clip from the BBC documentary Planet Earth is where they found their jumping off point. There are different versions of Cordyceps for different insects, but the Planet Earth clip focused on one that affected ants. The fungus would infect a single ant, growing on its brain to control them. From there, it forces the ant to latch onto a nearby plant. After the ant dies, the infected corpse will produce spores, spreading the fungus to the colony. The higher the population of an insect, the more likely it is to be targeted. Given that Earth is obviously well populated with humans, Naughty Dog knew they had something special. The fall of humanity began on September 26, 2013, also known as Outbreak Day. This is when the fungus reached critical mass and when the infected began to turn ugly, but it had been spreading for some time before. According to a newspaper players can find in the opening chapter, the fungus began to infect crops in South America. However, the FDA also warned against crops from Central America and Mexico. Unfortunately, it spreads extremely quickly. At least in Texas, hospital admittance has increased by 300%. In a matter of months, about 60% of the world's population had either died or become a creature of nightmares.
Don't leave me to turn. Please.
Once CBI has its host, it travels to the brain swiftly, where it will grow and eventually take control of the host's actions. Even when the host dies, the fungus continues to grow. Some infected will go into dark, dank places to produce infected spores when they die. However, unlike the real Cordyceps, CBI makes the host behave violently in order to poison the healthy through bite. And since the fungus grows constantly over time, there are a variety of stages and physical changes the infected go through. It takes less than 2 days for a completely normal person to turn into a completely enraged beast. The Federal Disaster Response Agency classifies Stage 1 infected as runners. These will sprint towards their prey in large numbers to overwhelm them. Since the host has not been infected long, there aren't many changes to their physical appearance, other than bloody eyes and small warts on their necks and head. Infected hosts progress to Stage 2 within a year. Classified as stalkers, these monsters are usually a bit stealthier than runners. With the Cordyceps fungus continuing to grow, it will protrude from their skulls, partially blinding them. This also heightens their sense of sound, but the following stages are truly more horrifying. After a year, hosts will enter Stage 3. Here, the fungus has grown to cover the entire top half of their head, blinding them completely. To adapt, the host will develop a form of echolocation. By making the clicking sounds, the infected can determine their location of their prey, thus giving them the popular branding, clickers. This is something taken from real life. Neil Druckmann was inspired by a news story of a blind boy using clicking sounds for the same result. While the real world is fascinating, in the game it is absolutely frightening. In addition to advanced hearing, clickers are much more stronger than the standard infected. If the player can't put a clicker down before it reaches them, it'll rip their throat out, and it's a lot easier said than done. The hardened fungal growths act as a part of armor, which makes it a lot harder to land a headshot. Stage 4, the bloater, is clearly the most troublesome, though thankfully rare. It takes more than a decade for an infected to become a bloater. Here, the physical changes are the most extreme. Fungal plates have grown over their entire body, causing the infected to grow larger and slower. The growths make them incredibly difficult to kill, even though they're much slower. Bloaters can rip fungal growth from their bodies and hurl them at prey. And just like with clickers, they'll kill you as soon as they touch you.
It's been infected for a long time. We call them bloaters.
The Last of Us takes place with humanity on the brink of collapse. Less humans seem to be left at the end of every day. In the 20 years since Outbreak Day, no one has found a cure, although one could theoretically exist. Ellie is the only person shown to be immune from the fungi's effect. While Firefly doctors plan to remove the fungus from her brain in order to produce a vaccine, well, we all know how that turned out.
They've stopped looking for a cure.
Part 2 may explore the possibility of a cure again, but it will also show how the infected can adapt and mutate. A new class known as the Shambala is produced through a combination of exposure time and environmental factors. It's similar in size to the bloaters, but can spray infected gas that will burn a victim's skin and impair their vision.
You can't stop this.
CBI is one of the deadliest plagues ever to appear in a video game. Its basis on real-life science, its rapid spreading, and the ability to mutate hosts is what makes The Last of Us so uniquely terrifying. We're excited to explore how the infected has grown and adapted in the sequel, but we'll be infinitely grateful if the real Cordyceps never evolves past insects.
Oh, God.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.